Nigma Galaxy have faced few truly big tests in their time at the top of the women's scene. In fact, since coming together early in 2022, this team has yet to lose a single series on LAN. They have even taken home the vast majority of the online ESEA Cash Cups, allowing them to win pretty much the entirety of the prize money made available by ESL. But something was different in Katowice. Nigma Galaxy was starting to struggle. Their series against Furia went to all 3 maps, and that decider had to be settled in overtime. Waiting for them in the grand final were the NAVI Javelins, a fierce opponent who'd already taken Furia FE down themselves rather comfortably in the group stages. Let's dive into the key rounds, the key moments, and the key players who defined the grand final of ESL Impact Katowice. We begin on Nuke, the pick of the Polish challengers, and one they hadn't lost in quite a long while. With this map being quite heavily CT-sided in the women's scene, a lot rides on T-side pistol play. Winning this pistol gives you some easy rounds and allows you to have a stronger base to build off of than a team who might go and lose it. In this game, the 2 CT sides held strong, though the way they approached these pistol rounds on both the T side and CT side would set the scene for how this game would play out. NAVI Javelins rushed outer en masse, pouring over and around main with a smoke to isolate Ana outside. As they take the fight, however, they quickly remember why Nigma Galaxy are so comfortable allowing Ana to sit there alone and fight. 3 Javelins dropped her USP taps, giving her side comfortable control of the round. This control is then immediately squandered as the rest of her squad go running outside for frags. After this unnecessary chaos resolves, it's 23 who's left in a 1v2. She's able to keep calm and convert. Let's contrast this to the second half pistol, where the ladies of Nigma Galaxy took a different approach to their outer control. Only Vertigo was sent to secure the space, relying on the quality of the individual to shine through. This pistol round still ended in a slaughter, this time on the A bomb site as each member of NAVI Javelins found the mark with the pistol and their knives. The way these 2 sides took and reacted to outer control defined the map, and our key players here to focus on are Ana, but more importantly, Vertigo of Nigma Galaxy. Nigma Galaxy's preferred way of playing outer is with a single player, typically gathering information and allowing their defense to organize itself appropriately. What's key to their setup is that the outer player is rarely committed any further forward than Garage. Instead of risking their lives to gather info, they used Navi's weaknesses against them. When the smoke wall did go down, Vertigo identified a hole she could spot through. Once that gimmick was discovered, Vertigo and Ana started throwing an incendiary to disrupt the smoke wall and allow the outer info to still be picked up. Vertigo's ability to control the outer yard alone continued into the second half. Not only did Navi not find a way to disrupt NGX's smoke wall, they didn't have any other counters up their sleeves other than committing more players to outer duels. This led to them removing defenders off the A bomb site, a direct consequence of which was the concession of extra bomb plants. In fact, Nigma Galaxy only gave up 4 bomb plants over the course of 15 defensive rounds, only one of which was on that A bomb site. Now, Navi on the other hand gave up 5 in 10 rounds, 2 of which were on their A bomb site, which is quite critical to your CT defense. Now that's the main strategical reason why the map lent so heavily in the favour of Nigma Galaxy. They had dominant control of outer on both sides of the map, and were able to make far better reads and far better adjustments. With a halftime score of 12-3, there's no doubt that the defensive prowess of certain NGX players has to be highlighted. Their standout member was undoubtedly 23, who racked up an incredible 22 frags, one away from perfection, in those 15 rounds. She was absolutely locking things down on the A bomb site, providing multiple multis to shut down Navi rushes. Not only that, there wasn't a round in the half where she didn't pick up at least 1 frag, giving her a perfect cast and showing off what true consistency is. Round 14 was a great display of her multi-fragging ability, artfully dancing around the flashes to utterly crush NAVI Javelin's last hope. Finally, let's take a look at one of the cooler critical rounds that Nigma Galaxy picked up to get themselves up and running early. This was a great counter to Navi's typical default, where they would sit passively in lobby after an initial set of utility. The moment those Molotovs in the choke points fade, that trap is sprung. Vertigo smokes off Viku, trapping the 3 lobby players as 4 CTs pounce after a pair of flashbangs. Lina does get the initial frag, but NGX have set up a sequence of trades and counter peeks that keep Navi from ever getting a multi-kill. Smartly, the first player to swing is the one with a trade fragger right behind her. The others are all peeking solo, but they can use that chaos as an extra player. As the dust settles, there are 3 Polish bodies in the lobby, and NGX would go on to convert the first real buy round of the map. This was a display of power by Nigma Galaxy. They took their opponent's map pick, whilst also embarrassing them. It wasn't just the fragging, it was every part of the game plan that was far superior. They really showed a higher level of play on Nuke that NAVI Javelins haven't quite figured out. Going into map 2, this series already looks put to bed. Well, thankfully, it wasn't quite that simple. We go to CSGO's second vertical map for the second map of this series. This is a map that has split opinions over the years and has seen quite a few meta shifts in its brief existence. Currently, thanks to the correction of the M4 A1S, Vertigo is fairly T-sided. This was made scarily apparent in the map Nigma Galaxy and NAVI Javelins played out. Their CT sides struggled to hold on, whilst the offensive players were able to find great joy in their opening exchanges. Not all of this is due to the map itself, however, as there were standout individuals for both teams, as well as some questionable and sloppy setups, which we'll definitely get into. For NAVI Javelins, who began this game on the offensive end, it was Lina who was the brightest burning star. Now, of course, the numbers may not have reflected this, HLTV rating isn't perfect, but if you actually watch the game, you watch the demos, you see which kills she's actually grabbing. Holy crap, how is she not the best player? Let's first establish this. Vilga is by far the most dangerous lurker in the women's scene. So not only was Lina asked to go and find opening frags against the best team in the women's scene, her primary antagonist was considered the best at winning exactly the kind of duels she was being asked to take on. Now, one of the main theatres of this battle was ramp, which, as we all know, is key to winning Vertigo. If you can find your opening frags there with consistency, you're going to be able to pick up rounds. It's an area that requires multiple players and a huge amount of resources to really take control of, so if you don't actually get the kill at the end of the day, after all that utility's gone in, after all those extra bodies have been poured through, you are going to struggle. Lina made sure to take smart fights, using her teammates' utility to perfection, whilst creating openings and taking space. Another part of her game that made her so deadly was how she worked around the defensive smokes. These frags kept the CTs in perpetual motion, allowing NAVI to find timings to exploit. Now, the CT side was a lot tougher for the Javelins, but we're going to stick with Lina for a second, as she did find some really nice high-impact frags to give her side a chance. There were some other rounds where she managed to make later plays, with small glimpses of quality in a rough second half. Now, the reason all of her defensive impact is far more negligible, we're not really going to go into it as often, we're not going to show you as many examples, is simply because on the other side of the server was Kat. Kat is a player who rarely gets her flowers, and she had a pretty big boost to fill when she came in to replace Kelly. Now, she too did have her defensive struggles, and we'll get into those later of course, but she was a fiendish opening finder for Nigma Galaxy over towards B. The B defenders did try a variety of things to cope with her, but none were successful. When they sat back, Kat worked the space and plucked them from their holds. When they got aggressive, Kat still wrecked them, like she knew exactly what was coming. Even when Kat acted as an entry as part of the larger pack, she was still winning all these duels. Ultimately, the success Kat found was emblematic of the issues both teams had with their defenses. They had huge problems holding onto that B site. Now, of course, you can play the site retake style, but that's not what happened here. Both sides ultimately committed to playing in the site itself, but never managed to have a convincing hold. For example, on round 5, Kat is set up to take space in B stairs. The position she decides to hold from is strange, leaving herself no way of retreating. She needs to take 2 to make it worth it, but can't deliver, and NAVI now have a crushing advantage. Round 14, Tori pushes behind the stairs utility. When the T-smokes fade, Tori doesn't react in time to Hanker's position and goes down without landing a bullet. Kat hasn't peeked yet, so no trade occurs, but she does eventually walk out and tries to take the fight, but goes down too. NAVI end up killing the A-ramp defenders, so maybe it wouldn't have mattered, but this is one of the many weak B setups we saw. NAVI weren't much better themselves. Round 24 was shambolic, as the 2B defenders went aggressive, but got stuck in no woman's land. Now, this weak B site, as well as their preference of playing 3 towards A, left mid wide open, which in itself was a problem for NAVI Javelins. Now, this map went the full distance, and we needed overtime to settle the score. Initially, overtime started in much the same vein as regulation, with Kat dropping 2 bodies over towards B, and Nigma Galaxy posting the first round. Finally, NAVI implemented an adjustment. The B players went for a controlled info play, then fell back from the stairs. Viku wins the AWP duel at A, giving Javelins something to play with. As the round goes on, Viku is left alone at the A-ramp, and NAVI set up a 3-player stack in B. They have a player covering mid, and now they're deciding they're going to play retake on A. Nigma Galaxy do end up taking the bomb site, but the Polish sweep through them to retake and win the round. NAVI took one more defensive round, leaving NGX with basically the task of replicating this newfound success that NAVI had on the defensive end. Where NAVI decided to change up their play to avoid an early death on the stairs of doom, NGX decided that Kat needed to challenge early. Again. This time she won all of her duels. Round 35 also went the way of NGX, thanks to some great anchoring by 23, leaving NAVI needing one more round to avoid defeat. NGX decide to go for that aggression again. This time the flashes are dodged, and both CDs go down without a frag. We need a second overtime. In this second overtime, Nigma showed us another face to their CT play, going aggressive in mid with Tori, and heavily focusing on the A ramp. This adjustment wasn't a bad idea, but the frags all went the way of NAVI, who pounced on the opening at ramp and finished off in the A-bomb site. More challenges and more fights follow, as Tori takes the B-stairs duel and 3 Nigma Galaxy players fight at ramp. The Nigma ladies all win their engagements, leaving NAVI with naught else to do but pray that they can get something done on B. NAVI figure out a gap in the Nigma defense, exploding quickly into mid and attempting to overwhelm the B site. However, with no pressure at stairs, both the B defenders are on hand and they trade Vilga's death in a 2-for-1. The Poles do try to end B again, but Tori has been on a rampage in this game and she takes all 3 frags. With Nigma Galaxy taking back the T-side reigns, certain staples of regulation return. Cat picks off Hanker, playing a poor spot on the stairs, and Lena makes a great play at ramp to find double kill. The bomb does eventually go down on A thanks to Navi leaving it empty, fearing that B play. This time though, the retake isn't as simple. Navi take a while getting it started, and once they get in the site, they lose composure. None of their peaks are coordinated, and Angelica runs out of time to win the round. Another round, another unnecessary death at B. This time, Navi need to pull back the round or lose the final. There are 3 players ready to defend the B site, more than enough to give themselves a fighting chance. A costly blunder occurs immediately, as Danu and Angelica both hold the same line. Cat slips right through the setup, taking both rifles' attention and leading to their demises. The bomb goes down, and Vilga makes a cheeky play to catch out Viku. Lena's left in a 1v2, and despite her best efforts, she gets traded out by her nemesis. The match finishes 2-0 in favour of Nigma Galaxy, but that Vertigo map could have gone either way, and the fact that their semi-final game was also such a tightly fought contest means we're really starting to see a world where there are several women's teams who can actually compete for the top spot. It's no longer one-way traffic. NGX are still queens of this realm, but the gap isn't as wide as it used to be. In fact, with them finally losing a game, this time online against NIPFE, we're starting to see their empire crumble. Now for NAVI Javelins, they look like they're in need of a slightly deeper playbook to make up for their weaker fragging. Nuke's a great example, but they didn't really have the firepower to keep up, and their game plan for their own map pick didn't seem to have enough options after what they tried failed. Like and sub, leave a comment telling me your thoughts on the women's scene right now, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.